What is going on, listeners, and welcome to For The Fans with me, Jack, and my co-host Ben, bringing you daily action from the Brazil World Cup. Coming up in today's show, we're going to be taking a look at the Brazil-Croatia fixture that's on this evening before looking at a bit of World Cup action and what's been going on off the pitch in the weeks leading up to the World Cup. Let's get straight into this.
Here we are. World Cup day is upon us. We've waited 4 years for this moment. Jack, are we ready? Are we excited?
I'm ready. I am buzzing right now. Like, it hasn't quite set in yet, but I'm sure by the time I'm kind of sat at my TV with a can of Foster's, I'll be ready. I'll be ready.
I've been more than ready. I've been ready for too long. I'm hypeable. To be honest, I am hypeable. Shall we get straight into it, or do you want to explain what we're doing? We'll explain what we're doing. So we'll do a quick run through of the game, of what's coming up today. Usually, obviously, there'll be games previous to today. But that's not happening today because it's the beginning of the World Cup. We'll then look at the team news for what's happening today. Then we'll do a little bit of, we'll obviously what's going on in the football world in regards to the World Cup. Also, Ben's mystery feature coming up later.
I don't know what that is. I'm terrified.
Oh, I can't wait. And then we'll finish up with telling you where you can find us, etc., etc. Right, so let's crack in. Brazil versus Croatia. It's today, Jack.
I think you're more excited than I am, Ben.
I am excited. I'm very excited. Do you want to hear some? I've got some stats for you.
Hit me with them. I love a bit of stats, and why not to kick off this World Cup?
Neymar, arguably the pin-up, the big dog on campus.
The big man.
He's got 22 goals in his last 28 games for Brazil, which is pretty good.
It's not bad, especially when you consider his age.
Yeah, and Brazil themselves are unbeaten in 9. So I wish Croatia all the best.
I know, it's going to be tricky for them because they are missing a few players. I mean, is it Brazil have only lost like one game in their last 22, and that was against Switzerland or something weird? Yeah,
it was. But and then you look across at Croatia, team news coming in. Well, I say team news, I've known for a while. But Mario Mandzukic, the Bayern Munich striker, is suspended for this game, which means Jelavic or Eduardo will have to probably come in.
I mean, who would you pick out those two? I assume that is Eduardo, as in leg break Eduardo.
Yeah, it is. I would probably go for Jelavic because he's a bit like he's quite similar to Mandzukic.
I was about to say, like, Eduardo, when he played for Arsenal, you kind of think of him as kind of that speedy striker. You know, you had a spring in his step. Whereas Mandzukic, let's face it, he's not the most agile of people. I'm not saying he's slow, but he's more of a Jelavic than anything. And I think if they're going to, Mandzukic is kind of key to the style that Croatia play, and if they want to keep a similar system, I think Jelavic's going to be a lot better for them in that regard.
Yeah, we obviously recorded our preview, and a lot of people were saying that Croatia, a bit of a dark horse.
I know.
They fancy him.
Croatia, there was a lot of people like, oh, you forgot to mention this person, and we're like, well, we don't watch the Bundesliga as much as some people do, so if there's any names that throughout the shows we glance over, let us know, either on Twitter or on YouTube. You can. Who's
the man to watch tonight? You've got a few hours before it kicks off.
Yeah, let us know.
Who do you think? And then if you're watching after the game, who's shone for you? Leave us
any surprise packages. That's the thing with the World Cup. Very often you'll look at the team sheets and there's some players that you expect to perform, and then suddenly this like kid on the wing just shines, and it's like, well, I don't even know who you are. It's less so likely to happen, I guess, for Brazil, because I feel as if you don't know who's the Brazil starting lineup is, then you're kind of a bit in the dark, I guess, when it comes to football. But on the Croatia front, there's certainly a few names who you see and you go, don't have a clue who that is, but maybe they'll be good. And I think it's going to be interesting today. Obviously, Brazil are going to be under some pressure, but I kind of feel like they're a team likely to thrive under it. I know Scolari's really been using that as kind of a motivating factor for the team.
Scolari's got big talk. Scolari was quoted as saying, to all Brazilians, I want to tell you that the time has arrived. This is our World Cup. That is big talk.
That sounds like a god at like kind of contacting and communicating with his people, doesn't it?
Well, a little bit, but obviously he won the World Cup 12 years ago with them. 12 years ago with them. So obviously he's been there and done it, and the Brazilian fans, they've not had success in that time. So he is kind of the hallowed figure right now.
He's the Messiah, isn't he? He's come.
Well, yeah, if you like. And obviously the Brazil fans, they're not really used to 12-year spells without being in a final. Never mind winning it, they've not been in a final. So it'll be interesting to see how the team reacts. Neymar's getting behind the boys. He's saying that they're the 12th man. He's giving all the sort of football cliches, which I like from Neymar. He's 22 and he's already been like, you're our 12th man. It's like, oh, Jesus. Here we go.
They start them young these days with those cliches.
But I find it interesting that Scolari is just like he obviously is so aware of the pressures in Brazil that he's just like, oh, whatever, we'll just go out there and win it anyway. This is our World Cup.
I think we kind of talked in the preview about, can Brazil live up to the hype? Can they, I guess, kind of rise to the occasion in many ways? And I think they've got the squad to do that. And I think if anyone was a manager who you'd want as Brazil right now, someone who's got the experience with the actual nation itself, someone who's been there, done that, got the postcard, and someone who's just very good at motivating players, Scolari is a fantastic option for all three of those, really.
Yeah, but then again, we've already said it, Croatia, a dark horse. Many players in that side that can cause Brazil a problem. That the midfield battle is going to be very interesting. If Modric can hold off some of the Brazil big hitters, then he can run a game. We've seen it time and time again. He did it for Tottenham. He does it for Madrid. If he can really stamp his authority on that game, I'm not. Okay, let me put it this way. I think Brazil will win, but Croatia are not to be ruled out. They'll be very well organised. They'll be very set up. They'll be set up astutely to cope with their. And then obviously look at Brazil. They're not, as you say, their names. Like, they know who they're playing against. There's I mean, none of this. It's not like they're playing against an, excuse me, Iran, but I'm going to use you as an example more than once this show, I assume. But it's not like they're playing Iran. Okay, Iran's team aren't exactly known. You're not knowing what to expect. But when you look at Neymar, Willian, Oscar, etc., you know that they're going to be creative. They're going to be fast. They're going to be fluid. And if Croatia can put a stop to that, stay defensively tight, then you never know. You never know.
Just going back to what you were saying about the kind of Brazil squads themselves, I think it's going to be interesting to see who actually starts for Brazil, because they've got so many players in that final third who would, they'd walk in pretty much to any other team. I think the big one's probably going to be Oscar. Is he gonna get a spot in the team? Because has he played for Brazil yet? I don't.
Well, he has, but he's kind of the golden boy. Like, they had Kaká, who's not at this World Cup, weirdly enough. But Oscar is kind of the new version of him. He's the recreated version of Kaká. So it'll be very interesting to see if Scolari goes with him. The Brazilian people seem to want Willian, but we'll see. If they're not exactly the same kind of player. They slightly vary in their
Willian's
quality,
a really interesting one, because he came to England off the basis that he had to appeal for a work permit, because I don't think he'd actually made an appearance for Brazil at the time. And he got
he was playing at Shakhtar, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's playing at Shakhtar. I don't think he'd played for Brazil, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that was the case. And they had to appeal for a work permit, Chelsea, and there was the hearing and stuff, and he got it on the basis of that he'd contribute and be an asset to English football. I think that's one of the kind of conditions that you can get a work permit under, because he hadn't played for Brazil. But, I mean, he's really stepped up into the kind of spotlight a little bit. I think at Chelsea, he had a good first season. It wasn't exactly like he made a huge difference, but he certainly was a player who, when he came on, looked dangerous. And I think it'll be interesting to see how, if at all, he slots into the kind of Brazil system.
Yeah. So what are you thinking then? This is the first game of the World Cup. Where's your prediction going?
I'm going to go with 3-1 Brazil. I think. I feel as if Brazil are great. I feel like they might get hit on the break once or twice, but I think ultimately they're going to have enough kind of firepower up top that they can just score.
I'm going to go with a flat 3-0. I think it'll be, I say flat, it'll be a party time atmosphere. But I think 3-0. I think, do you know what? How amazing would it be if we saw a Neymar hat-trick? Imagine that.
It wouldn't be amazing if you're a Croatia fan.
Well, no, it's when Croatians listening. I apologise for describing it in such a manner, but I can certainly see Neymar really setting the world alight this World Cup. And I hope he does. For the sake of the World Cup, I hope he does, because that would make it extraordinarily memorable. Right. So we've both gone for a win. Speaking of predictions, Jack, have you heard about the psychic turtle?
No. Please tell me more. Tell me more about... Is this like that? Was it a squid in Germany?
A squid in Germany.
It was an octopus, wasn't it?
It was Paul the octopus.
Sorry.
Right? And Brazil have got their own turtle. So I don't know if that's... I don't know why it has to be aquatic. That's a question I want to ask immediately. Why has it always got to be in the water? But apparently that's the fairest way of doing it. And he's predicted that Brazil will win. So So if we get it right, we're as good as a turtle, Jack.
Excellent. Did he predict the score as well?
Well, yeah. Well, no, he didn't predict the score, but he predicted Brazil would win, and he's called Big Ed, which is quite ironic, really, when you look at us two.
Yeah.
But the way they're dictating it is that he has to just eat a bit of fish, like from under the Brazil or Croatian flag.
Or can he predict draws?
Yeah, if he goes towards a football which is floating in the water.
Oh, is that like in the middle then? So they have like 3 options. It's like pick a door, any door.
Well, I don't know. But I don't know why he's going to go for the ball, because it's not a tasty treat, is it?
I assume there's like food under the ball and it's not just a football that they've stuck in the middle of the pool for him.
Well, unless he's going to go and kick the ball. He's thinking, oh, well, I'm getting on the action. If Neymar can do it, I can do it.
I've just got this image of kind of the people who work at the aquarium, like Morpheus in the Matrix holding 2 pills.
I don't know why we need animals to predict things, but we'll keep you updated on Big Ed, the predicting... they've actually called him the psychic turtle. The psychic turtle.
Excellent. Well, that was really imaginative.
I just hope he doesn't start podcasting. Then we're in real trouble. Speaking of horrendous reptile creatures, Sepp Blatter's in the news, Jack.
When is he not in the news, and when is he not being controversial?
Well, he's been particularly controversial recently. Anyone that disagrees with FIFA is racist.
Oh, crap.
Right?
Can I be punished for this, then?
Well, are you against FIFA?
Yes.
Well,
if you're not against FIFA, then you're not in the light and in the kind of well-versed in FIFA.
But it's fine.
Can we just clarify? We're not talking about the video game. Someone sat there like, what? Why are they hating on FIFA 14? It's terrible as well, but...
Yeah, every time FIFA 14 has a moment with me, I'm tempted to blame Sepp Blatter. But, yeah, he's called UEFA for disrespectful after calls for his resignation. Basically, people want him out, Jack. He's been there far too long, and people want... He's 78.
Isn't he going for another term now? Like, how long is a term in FIFA?
4 years, I think. So he wants another 4 years, which will make him 82. I don't know what he said, like, he quoted as saying, "This is the most disrespectful thing in my life." Like, you've been around for ages, and this is the worst bit. It's because you're really bad at it, Sepp. You're really bad at it.
Didn't he say in 2011 that there was no such thing as racism in football?
He did, yeah.
Oh,
he said some really stupid shit, frankly.
Well, I'm just thinking about how much that contradicts what he's saying now, really. Obviously, we're not going to touch on the Qatar World Cup too much, because we want to focus on the on-the-pitch stuff, but it's kind of impossible to avoid Sepp Blatter. Yeah. It's impossible. He's like the Pope of football, except he's corrupt.
He says his mission's not finished after FIFA decided to impose an age limit. Oh, sorry, there's no age limit now. There's no age limit. So there was a bit of an age limit. They thought we should bring in an age limit purely to stop Blatter, I assume. But there's no age limit. So what we could have is a Sepp Blatter going on forever. They could ice him up for a bit and then just give him another 4 years.
They could put him in one of those jars like in Futurama, and he'll still be around in a few thousand years.
We'll have a floating Blatter head.
Oh, God. Are they going to stick him in a pool of water and let him predict the World Cup?
That would be brilliant. I take it all back.
Can we organise that?
In matches.
Can we do that?
But anyway, obviously he's got a few policies that if he were to stay in FIFA, he's got some great ideas, Jack. Do you want to hear a couple? I'd
love to hear these, because I just want to hear how horrendous they are.
Okay, so managers will be given 2 chances to challenge a referee's decision. So completely undermine the official.
Excellent.
2 of those, and then they will get an immediate television review on that decision.
So it's like in cricket or something where you get your Hawkeye and appeal.
Yeah. But Blatter basically wants, on the X Factor, sorry, on Britain's Got Talent, they have the buzzer.
Yeah.
Blatter basically wants managers to have a buzzer.
Can they give managers a big button and then it I don't know, it plays a theme tune of some kind in the stadium and all the screens around the stadium come up with appeal?
Maybe it has to play, if it was in the World Cup, national anthem comes on. God save our gracious Queen, etc. How amazing would that be? Okay, now maybe Blatter's got this right.
I think he's got something right here. This is
maybe the whole time.
Maybe we should just help him out and be his ideas people.
Well, yeah, I'm happy to be his creative director. So, Sepp, if you are listening, you're probably not. You're probably at some sort of champagne lunch right now. But if you are listening, me and Jack are more than willing to help you force some of your ideas through at the FIFA board.
So what are the rest of his kind of...
Honestly, that's the main one.
That's the main one. Excellent.
That is the selling point. That's on the front of his poster.
Oh, brilliant.
Can you imagine a sexy Blatter on a poster trying to get people to vote for him?
In a jar.
Like the same way you'd have kind of people go for school council.
Yeah, oh, God.
Yeah, well, Blatter would easily win school council.
Oh, God.
In my opinion.
Got all these flyers around all the Brazil stadiums.
Well, yeah, but it just worries me that Blatter's still in charge.
I think it worries people that FIFA's still in charge.
Right, well...
Really?
I put this to Twitter, Jack.
You put it to Twitter. Well, what does Twitter say? We should point out, at ForTheFans Show, get on there. We ask questions before every show, so if you answer it, you've got a chance to appear on the show.
You have. I asked the Twitterverse because I thought, look, if we don't know what to do, Blatter doesn't know what to do. The people who follow us on Twitter definitely will. So the question was, Sepp Blatter has announced that he's going to stand for FIFA president again next year. Who would you like to see oppose him and why? And I'll tell you what, Jack, the ideas have come in. Firstly, Jack May said, I'd like to see Big Bird from Sesame Street as I find him far more reputable character than Mr. Corruption. Yeah. Would you like to see Big Bird in?
I would have some reservations, but he couldn't do a worse job. So that might not be the worst suggestion we've ever had.
Joe says that you should just get him in because he can't be any worse than Blatter.
You probably could be worse than him. And the next World Cup goes to Abu Dhabi, but it has to be held in Europe. No, Abu Dhabi paid the most.
No, Jack, you can't talk about right. Allegedly.
Sorry, we should point out FIFA may or may not be corrupt and may or may not have taken payments to host a World Cup in the desert.
Yeah, Martin says I'd like to see Joe Barton just because he knows everything about football and he would never be corrupt. I think he was being sarcastic. Someone else went for Boris Johnson. Mr. Kingy said Boris Johnson. He's done a fine job, so why not? Someone else just blankly said Adrian Childs.
Can you imagine him?
What, Childs in charge?
He'd bore everyone to death in the actual kind of meetings and stuff. Like, he just ask different professional stupid questions and then take their suggestions.
Well, what? Because so hang on, you're making it sound like he's starting every board meeting like ITV's kicking off the World Cup.
Yeah.
Right.
He'd just be a TV host. He'd be there. He wouldn't have his own ideas. He'd be just there with a microphone asking questions that don't actually have answers and then expecting people to feed him ideas. I
would quite like to see Adrian Childs and Sepp Blatter form a coalition.
Can you get a coalition in FIFA? Is that a thing?
Well, I don't know. Surely there is.
Could it get any worse than those two?
Well, what would be your big idea then?
Judge Judy.
You want Judge Judy in as FIFA?
Yeah, with Jeremy Clarkson.
So you want that to be the coalition?
Yes. What would your coalition be?
Anand Deck.
Oh God! I just think Judge Judy. She's not going to take any shit from anyone. She's just going to get out that mallet.
Anand Deck have already got a theme song. Rescue to Owens.
Oh God! That World Cup song was specialist.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be too bad. They're well liked. They love a phone vote. So every time there was a big decision, phone vote comes out. I'm a FIFA president. Get me out of here.
They should do that. They make it into a reality TV show. What? They should Mike Bassett. Get Mike Bassett in.
What, fictional character Mike Bassett?
Yeah.
Look, if you're not going to take it seriously,
I'm sorry, mate.
We had some cracking suggestions on Twitter, and then you've come out with Mike Bassett. Even Judge Judy was better than that because she's actually real. Anyway,
is she actually a judge? Serious question.
So World Cup podcast, everyone, but we're going to discuss the legitimacy of Judge Judy. I think she might be, but not by law.
She's terrifying. Like, she'd scare Blatter. Blatter wouldn't even go for it if she went up.
No, but she's a woman. She can't possibly be in FIFA.
Oh, yeah.
There's rules that they've created.
Set Blatter's little rules.
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel like we're getting bogged down in Blatter, and I don't want to do that, because no doubt we're going to come back to Qatar at some point.
Nobody wants to be bogged down in Blatter.
Oh, my gosh. That sounds terrifying.
It is a scary thought. So, go on.
I was just going to say, should we talk about World Cup? Obviously, we've talked about the superstars. We've talked about Blatter. I guess one of the main kind of headline things that's been going on pre-World Cup, at least, particularly in these friendlies leading up to it, has just been the injuries. We obviously recorded our previews, and I swear, like, half the players we mentioned as kind of being key to their country just dropped down with an injury. Like, there are some huge names missing. The list goes on. Like, I've seen like people's World Cup missing 11, so obviously that includes people missing. But just on the injury list, you've got players like Ribéry, Montolivo for Italy, Jay Rodriguez obviously for England. I don't know if Jay Rodriguez would have played for England, but
he might have got a lot. But he's not quite Falcao, who's also going to miss out,
or Royce.
And then you've got a lot of players who are kind of. We tend to always have this with England. There's always a debate about Beckham or Rooney, but obviously Suarez is carrying a knock. Ronaldo's apparently got a little bit of a twinge. Gerrard potentially got a bit of a twinge for England. Chamberlain's picked up a knock. Walcott's already out. There's players all over the place. They're dropping like flies, Jack.
They are. It's terrifying. And then Victor Valdez saddens me the most.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to get another medal for not actually performing at a World Cup.
There are some big players. Like, I know a lot of people have been tipping Belgium, but obviously they're missing Benteke, so they'll be relying, I guess, a lot on Lukaku to be their firepower this World Cup.
They certainly will. So, how much does it ruin the World Cup knowing all these big stars are out? Because it's bound to happen. Injuries are a part of football. So, do you think any teams have really been hampered, I guess is the question? Which team's really going to suffer from an injury? France, maybe? Ribery's a pretty big player for them.
There's some players who are out injured and it's a case of they can't be replaced. Look at a few of these. You look at the likes of, say, Benteke, and it's a case of, well, Lukaku can kind of do that role if they need be. But then you look at kind of really key players like Royce. That's a huge miss for Germany. I think they called up a defender in the end as well because they just don't have those options. And particularly considering the fact that they've only called up Klose as a striker. I know they've got Podolski and Muller now. And kind of Royce was kind of that fourth option that could play up top if need be, in the final third.
Yeah.
Having him missing, it's a bit of a strange one. I was kind of surprised that they didn't call up Volland, but I guess it's just inexperience.
Yeah, and Germany are very like that sort of team, aren't they? They don't like to call up inexperienced players of importance. And going closer, that's like the ultimate experienced player at a World Cup. He could potentially take over Ronaldo's goal-scoring record, which would be awful. I don't like the idea of it.
I was thinking about it, though, and as much as people are slating the idea of a Winter World Cup in Qatar, it might actually mean that we don't get these injuries, because at the end of a season, there isn't that cool-down period for national teams. I know kind of some people have kind of put the spotlight on friendlies before the World Cup have gone, well, are they really necessary? I kind of feel like they are. But at the same time, it's just, you'll get players who play 50, 60-game seasons sometimes, and then they've kind of got this... they're playing for the national team, and when you consider the World Cup and how intense it is, playing a game every kind of 5 days, and even more regularly at some point, it quickly catches up with players at the end of a long season.
Indeed. Shall we change the pace? Well, I've got what's written down next, Jack, on the running order.
I'm looking at it now. Your mystery feature. I don't know what this is. I'm terrified. So...
No, right. So each week, folks. Each day. Sorry, we're gonna have a guest on. Today we haven't got a guest, only one game. Me and Jack thought we'd introduce the World Cup by ourselves, We're pretty reputable characters. So, Jack, as you know, each member of the guesting community will be doing a quiz.
Quiz. Gotta love a quiz.
So obviously, the situation we've got ourselves right now is that no one's on the leaderboard for the quiz.
Oh, this is exciting. Does this mean I get to come on?
Guess what you're about to do.
Am I doing the quiz?
Are you excited about the quiz?
Yeah, can you explain the format? Is it 30 seconds?
Right, you've got 30 seconds. I've just had to go and grab my phone so I can time the 30 seconds.
Excellent.
All the best.
Thanks.
I've pre-planned the quiz, so some of the questions are more difficult than others. Are you ready? You've got 30 seconds on the clock.
I'm under pressure here. It's stream.
For the World Cup quiz. Are you ready?
Right, I'm ready.
Right. Your time starts now. Who is the current FIFA president?
Sepp Blatter.
How long is Brazil's recent unbeaten run?
22 games.
Incorrect. 9 games. Will Ben and Jack be appearing on BBC Radio Manchester 3 to 4 times a week during the World Cup?
Yes, at 3:45.
Correct. What is the ForTheFans website URL?
www.forthefanshow.com.
Are we excited for the World Cup?
Yes.
Is this quiz going to put guests on each day?
Yes.
Correct. Is FIFA YouTube Independence our guest tomorrow?
Yes.
Correct. Stop.
Excellent. How many did I get?
That was 6.
That's not bad. That's 1 every 5 seconds correct.
Luckily, my next question was, how I run out of questions because I didn't think you'd get this far.
Oh, brilliant.
So, good. That was good. Well done.
Thanks. Whereabouts do I go on the leaderboard? Does that make you top?
You are top of the leaderboard. You're
Come on.
top of the ForTheFans quiz leaderboard.
Excellent.
Well, I never. What a turn up. And I'll tell you what, 6 is going to be quite the challenge.
I think that's a pretty good effort.
The problem is, though, if you win the quiz, I feel like FIFA. I feel like we're taking bribes. Does that make me Sepp Blatter?
Yeah, I'm afraid it does.
That makes me Adrian Childs of the future. Horrendous.
I'm sorry.
So that was good. Well done in the quiz. You should be very proud of your performance.
I feel like we need a Top Gear-esque leaderboard that we can slap me on the top of.
Well, I'll sort that out. As mentioned in the quiz, you can see what I did with the quiz here, Jack. I mentioned our potential BBC Radio Manchester appearance. Do you want to tell us all about that?
So we got contacted by BBC Radio Manchester. We're going to be appearing every Monday, Wednesday and Friday through the World Cup at 3:45 for a short segment in which we're going to give our thoughts on the World Cup action. We're also going to be appearing on Thursdays and Tuesdays if there's big games on during the week. And you can expect to see either me or Ben on, and sometimes there'll be both of us on when it's kind of particularly big.
Yeah. That's exciting. So can I say thank you to all the people that have listened, downloaded, subscribed to the YouTube, followed us on iTunes, followed us on Twitter, done all that business, because you've got us to this point. And so the fact we're going to be on BBC Radio Manchester is quite the honour, and I'm looking forward to it, Jack.
It should be decent. It's going to be a really cool opportunity, and as Ben said, it's thanks to you guys and the support you guys have been showing pre-World Cup.
Yeah, so does that almost bring us to the end of our first official World Cup show?
It's been a whirlwind.
A whirlwind? Yeah, it has a little bit.
It's been a little bit emotional.
So much so that my voice is going.
There's only 29 more to do.
I'm okay. It's fine. It's not fine. Wait. It's fine. Okay, so sorry everyone. Apologies for that. I did put my hand there for those interested. So shall we outro this podcast, this bad boy of a show?
Guys, thank you for watching. As Ben mentioned, you can check us out at www.forthefanshow.com. You can check us out on YouTube, Twitter and iTunes. All the links are on our website. If you particularly enjoyed the podcast and you're listening on iTunes or YouTube, remember to rate the podcast 5 stars, or if you're on YouTube, give it a like, share it with some friends. Let's get the word of mouth going about this podcast. And as we mentioned right at the very beginning, this is going to be daily throughout the entirety of the World Cup.
Yeah, so make sure if you're on Twitter or you're watching on YouTube, get your answers to question of the week down below. We will be asking the question on Twitter, so that is the best way to find us. Obviously, the question this week was to do with this day.
Sorry, you're hell-bent on this podcast being weekly.
No, it's just we did it weekly before, and I'm trying to get used to this. I'll get daily in my mind, don't worry. So, yeah, we asked the question on Twitter daily to read out on the show. Get your best answers in. Obviously, today was the question of who would you want in charge of FIFA if Sepp Blatter, or who would you want to oppose Sepp Blatter in the election for FIFA presidency? Get your answers in on the YouTube comments section below, or if you're listening on iTunes, tweet us. Let's find out. We'll retweet the best ones.
Excellent. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. From me, Jack, and my co-host
Ben. Sorry. That's me, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought we were going to go for some epic kind of telepathic communication thing.
Do it again.
And from me, Jack, and my co-host...
I've ruined it again.
We're sorry.
Last try.
Right, okay.
We're stopping
Deep breath. From me, Jack.
And from me, Ben.
Thank you for watching. We're out.
We're out.
I was expecting you to do that line.
Sorry.
It's fine. I forgive you. We'll get it by the end of the 5th episode.
God. 30 days to go.